Catchment Convos with Thriving Southland, your link to Southland catchment groups and their impactful projects. Each episode will dive into grassroots efforts by local farmers and communities that are driving change and sustainability in our region. Listen in for inspiring stories and insight. Real people, real change, the Southland way. Welcome back to Catchment Convos, the podcast where we dive into the work of passionate people driving change in our catchments and communities. I'm your host, Sarah Thorne, one of the Thriving Southland catchment coordinators. And joining me on today's episode are Craig Steenson and Nick Wadworth. Craig and Nick are core members of their local catchment groups, Greater Dipton and Makario Headwaters. And together, we'll talk about what tech they use on their farms and how it helps them get the best outcomes for their land, water, teams and businesses. So let's get into it. Welcome to Catchment Convos, Craig and Nick. It's lovely to have you on our podcast today. I've heard so many stories about how you're using tech on your farms, and I can't wait to hear more about it. So, it'd be wonderful if you could introduce yourselves to our listeners and tell us a bit about your farms.
Yeah, g'day, it's Nick Wadworth here. I'm farming with my wife, Alexis, and daughters, Addison and Jody. My dad's on the farm as well, which is quite handy from time to time. We're running a sheep and beef breeding unit with spring and autumn calving beef herds. I guess some of our values lead into this tech podcast quite well. Our values are stewardship, courage, and kaizen. Stewardship meaning looking after the land and the people. Courage, having the confidence to do new things. And kaizen, which is my favourite one, is the continuous improvement and efficiency in our business.
And Craig?
Hi, I'm Craig and dairy farm up in Dipton West with my fiancée Alana and our two kids, Alice and George. We contract milk 140 cows in a barn system. Running a system 5. It's our first season winter milking on this farm. Third season on this farm, first season trying winter milking. So there's a fair bit going on staff-wise. We've got 4 full-timers on farm at the moment and always looking at ways to kind of maximise the hours in the day, efficiency, and make sure staff are having an easy day, but we're still managing to get that downtime, but get through all of our jobs as well.
That sounds amazing, and it sounds like a great link to our first question. Could you tell us more about some of the tech that you've incorporated into your farms and how it adds value to your farms?
So our dairy shed is quite kitted out with technology. We've got some great farm owners that heavily invested some time and money into setting up our cow shed quite well. So milk meters for measuring litres, milk solids daily, somatic sow count sensors, ProTrack drafting, ProTrack in bale, which links with our ProTrack feed system, and cow collars for mating. So every day those cows come through the shed, they're getting their milk litres, yields, milk solids measured, somatics. It's all linked back into Minder, and that flows through to how we feed these animals as well. So high producing cows are getting their daily requirements met via all this automation and the feed levels we set in the sheds. So it takes a lot of, that manual work out of it. So that helps with your staff. Cows come in, you get alerts for dropped milk litres if there's something wrong, somatic sow count. So you're getting all these animal health benefits straight to staff right there at cups on. That definitely helps minimise that workload and searching for these cows, especially around somatics. Stuff from this morning's milking will flow through, and if they've produced more milk from this morning, that will flow through till this afternoon's milking, and that will allow them to have more in-shed feed, hopefully continue increasing in milk solids. It ensures efficiency. So we're feeding the correct cows the correct feed. The cows that are making milk are getting fed to have their daily requirements met. We're not just blanket feeding everything. and pouring feed into cows that don't necessarily need it.
That sounds like clever farming. And I heard on the grapevine that you might have set up an intranet to help your farm systems and staff coordinate
Yeah,
information.
bit of a work in progress still. It's an intranet, and we have set that up alongside Google Drive, and that pulls in a joint calendar so we can put all sorts of scheduled events we have into this shared calendar. So on the homepage of our internet for the business, point blank, right in the center is a calendar there which updates as soon as you put stuff into it. And we've got all sorts of other tabs on there so you can go through and people can find rosters, so milking times, who's milking, days off, people on annual leave. All of that is linked through from what we enter into Google Drive. We've got SOPs in there, so you can find all your SOPs for motorbikes, tractors, all of that. Slideshows, so setting up the cow shed so someone could pretty much walk in, follow this slideshow and open the vat, turn the machines on, close this, open that, and away they go. A bit of health and safety on there as well as an emergency kind of response page. Everything's kind of there ready to grab if you need it. It's still a bit of a work in progress because you can add so much to it. Some cell phones are working better with that than others. So, yeah, a bit of that stuff isn't quite 100% at the moment, but we're trying to work our way through that and just trying to get away from paper. So, trying to simplify everything. Everyone's got a phone nowadays. It's always in your pocket. You can do it then and there and it's done.
That sounds so efficient and sensible, and it takes it out of people's heads and gets it somewhere everyone can access it. And Nick,
Yeah, I guess the one of the earlier things we adopted, and I'm probably preaching to the converted, but we invested in a direct drill, so that's just a machinery thing that saves a lot of time and money driving tractors around the hills, basically, to develop pastoral crops. So that was the first big purchase we decided to do, and it's been very valuable for the last 6 years. We can't really go back to the normal cultivation that we used to do. It would have been about 4 or 5 years ago, we invested in a drone, a very basic model, and the original motivation was to get away from doing a lambing beat, basically, and not checking sheep every day on a bike sort of didn't really tickle our fancy, especially in the poor weather that we get. The drone has been not only great for saving time and maintenance on bikes and fuel, but also just understanding what the stock are doing before those weather events that are coming through. So I'd fly it out, you check about 1,000 sheep in half an hour, and there might be a couple of cast ones, but more often than not, there's no cast, so you don't have to go too far, and you're not disturbing all those animals pre a storm event. Saves a lot of time. I guess Craig mentioned it before with everyone's got a phone on them, and I carry a phone as well. There's multiple apps that we use. The main one that we've used for quite some time is the Resolution app, which is basically a farm diary on your phone, and that's very customized to your operation. So I think we've had it about 5 years as well, which is quite fascinating looking back at those records. A recent app that we're trialing is called Stock Score. We were just using it the other day when we were scanning ewes, so just another wee efficiency. We're in an area where we've never had cell phone coverage. We installed our own internet tower on the top of our hill, and then obviously time goes on, and now we've got Starlink, and that pings internet or good solid internet to the buildings around the farm. And then with the Spark satellite plan on your phone now, we can use our Halter app anywhere on the farm and also send messages. You can't call very well, but you can use data through like WhatsApp to make a phone call, especially if you're in trouble. So there's a health and safety element there as well. So things have changed quite a lot. Sort of went from being used to not having any internet and couldn't call anyone to being able to do most things while you're getting around the farm now, which is another efficiency. There's another couple of things. It's obviously an issue up here. We've invested in some of those NZ auto traps. We just Bluetooth our phone to the trap to see how many kills it's had, which is quite interesting. And then the last thing is we've got halter on our beef cows for fencing, basically.
That's amazing. You both mentioned it, but it seems to me that it's critical to upskill and support your staff with any new tech and systems on your farm. How have you guys supported your staff to understand and use the new technology?
You usually get a summer student in, some temporary workers in. So to support them using an app like Resolution, for example, in the drenching race would have a wee poster next to the drenching race, and that'll walk them through how to record drenching animals, like what they got drenched, how many, the weight of them, and dosage, etc. But there is a wee bit of manual handling with it, but with those younger employees, you sort of got to start somewhere. You do that once and you just say, look, here, this is what you do. And as long as they actually use the technology, that's probably the biggest challenge, is to get them to get in that frame of mind of actually using it all the time. So the information's going in and they're not waiting to the end of the day or the end of the week to put in what they've done.
Really, Nick, the uptake, I think, from staff can be quite a challenge. We're a little bit slow sometimes. Probably for my guys, it's more of a what's he done now? What's he created now? Or here's something else that he wants done. But I think there's a lot of technology out there. We keep getting more and more, but we almost need to try and consolidate a bit of it. So it's kind of just there. It's all accessible. It's kind of one. We just end up with apps everywhere and apps for everything. We'll try and sit down when we do our staff meetings, and something might have changed, or I might have removed a few things from that website or inspection forms, just trying to make things a bit easier for everyone. We'll discuss it and go through it. There's always something that comes up or doesn't work, or everyone's wanting to get rid of or wanting to know a bit more about. So, yeah.
Carrying on from that, Craig, with all the apps and the tech that is coming, I do feel like I'm going to be obsolete in 10 years. I only feel that way because, well, both Craig and I have started at the bottom with the nuts and bolts of it. If you've got a younger one coming in and they see all this tech, they're not going to understand all the real nuts and bolts stuff of grass and cows, potentially. For example, and I've definitely stolen this quote from somebody, and they'll know who it is if they listen to this, but a halter collar isn't going to make your cows bigger or grow faster. You've got to be able to use it correctly. And making all the tech that is coming through too complicated for someone coming into the industry, you could run into trouble. But understanding the nuts and bolts before you get into it is still crucial.
I think that's where we just need to try and keep it simple. Everything's just simple to use. It's quick and it's efficient. And then you can just carry on with your day. We've got a lot of good technology now, and there's going to be a lot of great stuff coming in the future. And in this industry, since I left school at 17, and from when I started, it was just cows, motorbikes, grass. You had a fence, reel, and standard as well. Now you can sit there on your couch, have a coffee, and shift your animals or give them another break. The technology is amazing and how it's progressing. It's definitely helped a lot of people out, especially some of these small dairy farms, family, husband and wife team, no staff. They do it themselves. So it's exciting to see where we're going to end up and how it's going to keep affecting us.
It's combining that tech with really good, solid knowledge that you have of your farms and your farming operations is often to get the best outcomes. So it's great that you guys are thinking about that with your staff. You guys have mentioned so many things you're doing already and so many ideas, but where do you get your ideas from? And what helps that idea get picked into actually happening?
It's an issue that you need
Yeah,
to
yeah.
resolve. For me, is probably the biggest thing with those inspection forms. You got so much machinery going around, tractors, mixer wagons, motorbikes. If we have accidents, you got to be able to provide all these answers. And just for the fact that, people are using them and they are getting maintained. So that was my big thing around the inspection forms. And then I guess the other one that's probably been trying to work on, and I think we've run out of capacity with Excel, was a automated staff rostering tool to try and get rid of so many hours sitting in front of a computer at night trying to do a roster, whether that be it for the whole month or just the next fortnight, with the help of Chat GBT and Excel. And I have made something I'd like to try and pursue a bit more, is a little bit more automation on, I guess, your daily jobs and that admin side for us to make sure everyone's tasked with the jobs that they like and the jobs that need doing, and it's kind of kept even across the playing field.
That's just brilliant and hilarious that you broke Excel. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, look, it's probably similar to Craig with you going about your daily jobs and you're like, oh, there must be a better way of doing this. That's basically what I'm thinking most of the time is there must be an easier way or more efficient way. Even just listening to a podcast or something, there's quite a few farming themed ones on my phone and you start picking things up from overseas and everywhere really. And if you can apply it to your farm, then you might as well do a few figures and try and pursue it, I guess.
So I feel like you've probably answered this already, but what have you found to be the benefits of incorporating new tech on your farms?
I guess it has been efficiency through time saving has been massive. It's pretty hard to calculate that. For a long time, I used to count fence posts and crop paddocks to sort of get a rough area of the break that, say, the hoggets would go in. And now through the resolution app, you can draw it like to the hectare or point one of a hectare. And then you're not having to go out there and roll your brake lines with a tractor more than once. And then it's also like the accuracy that brings with brake fencing example.
Like Nick said, the efficiency, the time saving, just off the top of my head, with ProTrack, just drafting cows. There's no more manual drafting, manual sorting. You punch in the numbers of the cows you need, or with the collars on our cows when you come to mating. All that information flows through, and you can turn up and you got all your cows there ready to go for the AI tech. There's no more labour unit standing on a stand. It's just the time saving, and that person could be off doing something else on farm. You're now getting through more jobs in a day because you've automated one process, or you've taken them away from a job that you used to have to stand there for 3 hours and do.
It's also a headspace thing. Once you start putting data into like resolution, for example, you don't have to worry about remembering everything. If you enter the data into something, you no longer have to worry about it and you revisit when you need to.
There's so many great points there. Have there been any unexpected challenges that you've learned from?
I guess for a start, like anything new is going to be hard to what you've been used to. I haven't worked this out yet, but like cattle behavior and some of our hill blocks, we're obviously giving them a daily shift with the halter collars. But the way animals behave, they always want to go up to a stock camp. That's where it's warmest. They're not getting that at the moment. They're staying in their wee break. So that's mentally taxing for me, wondering what they're up to in their little confines of the break. But I guess that's something you sort of got to get used to. But I guess the main challenge is we still have to be smart to use the tech. Like if you're not going to be jumping full bore with it, then you won't get the use out of it.
Love it. How about you, Craig?
Yeah, no, the same. Probably the challenge is just all that change. There's always new stuff coming through, and it's often changing so quick. There's just trying to keep staff onto those changes or whatever's changing.
So, if someone is listening and thinking, I really like that idea, what would you recommend as their first step?
I think
Yeah.
it depends what it is. Like, if it's something you can pay for in a subscription, I guess just contact the reps really and have a chat with them, see if it is something that's going to suit. It's probably just knowing your business wants or needs, and is it going to really save you the time? And what's the return on that investment? Really, at the end of the day, is probably the biggest thing. Then if it's anything smaller, I've done a lot of Googling or Chat GPT. It's so good at coming up with different stuff, and you just sit there and tell it what you want, and you can just take things out of it. You can get it to create it for you fully, or you can just grab ideas. There's so much out there that you can use nowadays to help yourself build something. And if it doesn't suit you, then move on.
You're right, Craig. People that are adopting new tech are willing to share what they're doing anyway. So if you know someone, just pick up the phone and have a chat. And that's pretty grassroots. And you hear it straight from someone that's trialing something.
That's awesome. So looking to the future, is there any new tech that you're keen to explore?
Sounds like Craig's already using it, but we've started using AI just at the moment, actually. So we're using that to help speed up the mundane process or clunky jobs of analyzing data. Alexis is mainly heading it up, but we are doing our stock reconciliations, and it's also helping with doing reports and things from our accounting software.
That's terrific. How about you, Craig?
Oh, I'd love to find something to replace me. That would be great. Um, no, probably I think just focusing on what we've got. You can grab something with every reach and you can have all this stuff, but are you actually using it to its full potential? And, if you're paying for it, are you getting your money's worth out of it? So probably just working with what we've got at the moment and just trying to make sure everything is working properly and staff are happy to use it. It's easy to use and it is actually just getting done. So that's probably our focus at the moment, and just try and get all that sorted.
Sounds like an excellent focus. So, before we wrap up, is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners on using technology on farm?
Yeah, there was driving Southland to a good agri-tech day. I don't know when that's coming up next, but that's very valuable if you want to see some new things going on. I've been to it twice now myself and picked up something every time, so it's been very valuable.
And you, Craig, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I guess let's just get on the phone. You'll find that a lot of people, especially farmers, are willing to tell you pretty straight how it is, if it works or it doesn't work. Just try something like ChatGPT, start somewhere like that, see how it goes, and if it's something that's going to work, and just progress from there.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your knowledge and expertise. It's been a really inspiring episode, and I'm just blown away by all the tech you're using and how it's helping your farming operations. I hope our listeners have picked up some great ideas today too. And after listening to you guys, I feel a bit more confident to make them happen on their farm. And that's a wrap for another episode of Catchment Convos brought to you by Thriving Southland. A big thanks to our guests for being part of the conversation on today's episode, and to you guys for tuning in. We appreciate your support. Don't forget to like, subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts from, so you can stay up to date with all the latest episodes as they're released. For more information on this episode, check out the show notes or head to the Thriving Southland website, where you can also learn more about the awesome work happening across the catchment groups here in Southland. And if you've got a project or an idea you want to share, don't be shy, reach out. So, until next time, keep up the good work out there on the land, and as always, stay connected and keep driving those changes for a thriving Southland.